Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this is my eighth video or the final video of the assignments. Reading English texts for the English phonetics and phonology assignments or subject. Which one is the correct one? And I will continue on the fifth part of the second chapter of the book. And I think actually, this book is a wholesome book because I think my pronunciation ability or skills are improving since I tried to read aloud all of this book, all of the part of this book. I've read to the end of this book maybe maybe twice or triple times, and I don't even get the meaning of the book because I was focusing on how to pronouncing difficult words in English, and I've come to this pronunciation level because I maybe read this book twice or triple. So I forgot how many I've read this book, and I will continue. Live on automatic. My friend and I are wrapped in conversation in a busy restaurant toward the end of our lunch. He is immersed in his narrative, telling me about a particularly intense moment he's had recently. He's been so lost in telling me about it that uh, he's been the he's been so lost in telling me about it that he is not done with his food. My plate was cleared a while ago. At that point, the server comes to our table and asks him, "Are you enjoying your lunch?" He barely notices her. Mutters a dismissive, "No, not yet," and continues on with his story without missing a beat. My friend's reply, of course, was not to what the server actually said, but rather to what waiters usually say at that point in a meal: "Have you finished?" That small mistake typifies the downside of a life lived bottom up on automatic. We miss the moment as it actually comes to us, reacting instead to a fixed template of assumptions about what's going on. And we miss the humor of the moment. The waiter said, "Are you enjoying your lunch?" The customer, "No, not yet." Back in the day, when there were often long lines in many offices as people waited to use a copier, Harvard psychologist Alan Langer had people go to the head of the line and simply say, "I've got to make some copies." Of course, everyone else in line was there to make copies too. Yet, more often than not, the person at the head of the line would let Langer's confederate, go ahead, confederate. I don't know. It's confederate, confederate. Federation, confederate, go ahead. That, says Langer, exemplifies mindlessness, attention on automatic. An active attention, by contrast, might lead the person at the front of the line to question whether there really was some privileged urgent need for those copies. Active engagement of attention signifies top down activity, an antidote to going through the day with a zombie like automatic. No, let me repeat that again. Uh, Active engagement of attention signifies top down activity, an antidote to going through the day with a zombie like automaticity. We can talk back to commercials, stay alert to what's happening around us, question automatic routines, or improve them. This focused, often goal oriented attention inhibits mindless mental habits. So, while emotions can drive our attention, with active effort, we can also manage emotions top down. when the prefrontal areas take charge of the amygdala, tuning down its potency. An angry face or even that cute baby can fail to capture our attention when the circuits for top down control of attention take over the brain's choices of what to ignore. Still 5 minutes left. Okay, we continue on the fourth chapter of the book, and I've been mistaken from the beginning of the video. I am really sorry, sir. I think you should see my eighth video because this is where I make clear things. Okay, make things clear. Okay, the fourth chapter of the book, The Value of a Mind Adrift. Let's step back for a moment and think again about thinking. In what I've written so far, there is an implicit bias that focused, goal driven attention has more value than open, spontaneous awareness. But the easy assumption that attention need be in the service of solving problems or achieving goals downplays the fruitfulness of the mind's tendency to drift whenever left to its own devices. Every variety of attention has its uses. The very fact that about half the very fact that about half of our thoughts are daydreams suggests there may well no 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 the very fact that about half of our thoughts are daydreams suggests there may well be some advantages to a mind that can entertain the fanciful. We might revise our own thinking about a wandering mind by considering that rather than wandering away from what counts, we may well be wandering toward something of value. Brain research on mind wandering faces a unique paradox. Top down intent does not yield a fruitful bottom up routine. It is impossible to instruct someone to have a spontaneous thought, that is, to make the person's mind wander. If you want to capture wandering thoughts in the wild, you've got to take them whenever they happen to pop up. Uh, One preferred research strategy, while people are having their brains scanned, ask them at a random moments. No. Let me repeat that again. I think it sounds off. One preferred research strategy, while people are having their brains scanned, ask them at random moments what they are experiencing. This yields a messy mix of the contents of the mind, including a great deal of wondering. 8. The inner tug to drift away from if effortful. The inner tug to drift away from effortful focus is so strong that cognitive scientists see a wandering mind as the brain's default mode. No. Let me repeat that again, sir. The inner tug to drift away from effortful focus is so strong that cognitive scientists see a wandering mind as the brain's default mode, where it goes when it's not working away on some mental task. The circuitry, the circuit, the circuit, the circuitry, the circuitry, the circuitry of the brain circuit. The circuitry for this default network, a series of brain imaging. No. Oh, let me repeat that again. The circuitry for this default network, a series of brain imaging, or imaging. Oh yeah. The circuitry for this default network, a series of brain imaging studies has found, centers on the medial or middle zone of the prefrontal cortex. More recent more recent brain scans revealed a surprise. During mind wandering, two major brain areas seem to be active. Not just the medial, not just the medial, not just the medial strip that had long been associated with a drifting mind. The other, the executive system of the prefrontal cortex, had been thought crucial for keeping us focused on tasks. Yet the scans seemed to show both areas activated as the mind meandered. That is a bit of a puzzle. After all, mind wandering by its very nature takes focus from the business at hand and hampers our performance, particularly on cognitively demanding uh, After all, mind wandering by its very nature takes focus from the business at hand and hampers our performance, particularly on cognitively demanding matters. Researchers tentatively solve that puzzle by suggesting that the reason mind wandering hurts performance may be it's borrowing the executive system for other matters. This gets us back to what the mind wanders toward more often than not, our current personal concerns and unresolved business stuff we've got to figure out. More on this in the next chapter. While mind wandering may hurt our immediate focus on some task at hand, some portion of the time it operates in the surface of solving problems that matter for our lives. In addition, a mind adrift lets our creative juices flow. While our minds wander, we become better at anything that depends on a flash of insight. From coming up with imaginative wordplay to inventions and original thinking. In fact, people who are extremely adept at a mental task that demand cognitive control and a roaring working memory, like solving complex math problems, can struggle with creative insights if they have trouble switching off their fully concentrated focus. Among other positive functions of mind wandering are generating scenarios for the future, self reflection, navigating a complex social world, incubation of incubation of creative ideas, flexibility in focus, pondering what we are learning, organizing our memories, just mulling life, and giving our circuitry for more intensive focusing a refreshing. Let me repeat that again. Among other positive functions of mind wandering are generating scenarios for the future, self reflection, navigating a complex social world, incubation of creative ideas, flexibility in focus, pondering what we are learning, organizing our memories, just mulling life, and giving our circuitry for more intensive focusing a refreshing break. A moment's reflection leads me to add two more, reminding me of things I have to do so they don't get lost in the mind's shuffle and entertaining me. I'm sure you can suggest some other useful features if you let your mind drift a while. I think I've got to repeat this sentence again. Uh, a moment's a moment's reflection leads me to add two more. A moment's reflection leads me to add two more, reminding me of things I have to do so they don't get lost in the mind's shuffle and entertaining me. I'm sure I'm sure you can suggest some other useful features if you let your mind drift a while. I think this is the end of the assignments, and thank you for watching all of the videos, sir. I think you must watch all of the videos because I don't know. I just I just rampantly love reading English texts because this is why I got a little bit confident on my pronunciation skills. Yeah, I think this is the end of the task or the assignments. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.